Hey, shalom, 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 shalom. Anakna waha ibar yashala walakim la adam. Call Shabawai Bahar Chawa Kaksha Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shama Amat, which is truly. Hey, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nachamantam Kayam Lakwat Hashemayim Korab. Repent, yea, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Laim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Bahasham Chahakodash Wamashana Kabadim Zakoyim Nawa. Wa mala akim shoy shalas koyin kha got a wall wa khasa wa shalom wa barakim la ha bakharim shaha kawaya shal shalom. All right, so all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. Wa tells a heart to Wa, which is and good afternoon. All right, I don't want to IzabThaNaya. Lord's will, this is a beautiful edification through the Spirit. All right. We're going to go into Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. All right, that's where we're going to start. And we can get some examples of this. All right, this is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. It says, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am come not to destroy, but to fulfill. All right, now you're getting this word fulfill. It means to complete, all right, to carry out. Pretty much like if you take like in American law, so to speak, you got the judicial system, you got the legislative system, and you got executive. All right, pretty much to fulfill something, you're carrying it out. All right, pretty much would be executive, so to speak, to carry it out or to make sure that it happens. All right, so to complete or to fill it up, to be full. And Hamashiach comes in the volume of the book, so every particular prophecy that was written concerning him, he came to carry it out, you see. And just to elaborate on that, we can get Luke chapter 24 and verse 44. It reads, and he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets. It'll be Wa Baha Nabawa Ayim, all right, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms, Hatahoyim, in the Psalms concerning me. All right, so pretty much he came to fulfill all those things written about him. All right, so let's get some examples of this. This is Debarium Deuteronomy chapter 18. We can get verse 18. It says, I will raise up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. And that's pretty much because Hamashiach was sent by the Most High Yahweh. All right, and then the Most High Yahweh also gave him that particular position, you see. So if you don't listen to Hamashiach in turn, you're not listening to the Lord, you see. So in doing that, one will receive judgment. All right, continuing on, let's get because he said the Psalms, all right, or Salat. It said in the prophets, pretty much going into all the books of the law. All right, but before I get the one in the Psalms, I'm gonna start with IzabThaNaya chapter 27 and verse 46. This is Matthew 27 and 46. Also IzabThaNaya, it says, and about the 9th hour, Yahweh shall cry with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? All right. Now, when you go into this is a prophecy which the Lord fulfilled. All right, but this is a Chaldee Aramaic translation. You see, because they like to perpetrate that the Lord spoke Aramaic. When you actually go into this right here, it says, of Chaldee, or H7662 with pronominal suffix, thou hast left me, sabachthani, a cry of distress. Now we go into this, it'll give you shawabak, which is shobek. All right, shabak is Aramaic, but then shabak is also it's also Hebrew. All right, which this is a translation. It's a Greek translation of this saying. All right, which again, it was a translation. They got the translation in Aramaic. All right, which is similar to Hebrew, but that's not the actual. That's not actually what was said. All right, because the prophecy that what was referred to in the Psalms was Psalms 22. All right, which we'll get through the Spirit, Lord's willing. All right, when we look at this, you scroll down. This is it's of Hebrew origin as well. You know, Lama's Hebrew. All right, but the word that they had written was of Chaldee origin, in which it has written right here. It says WHCWH's appendix, page 155, and under the word EII, and it has sabachthani, Lachman, in Matthew only, IzabThaNaya, from the Chaldean shabak, thou hast forsaken me. So that's what it comes from, shabak. All right, which again that goes into a Hebrew word as well. All right, so then it says Matthew chapter 27 verse 46, and also it has Mark 15 and 34, because that pretty much goes into the same thing. All right, then they have Psalms 21 and 2, which that's not the correct verse, and they have Psalms 22 and 2, which that's not the correct verse either. It's Psalms 22 and 1. It says from the Chaldean shabak thou hast forsaken me, for the Hebrew IzabThaNaya. All right, which is so rendered also by the Chaldee paraphrase. And when you go into a paraphrase, when something is paraphoristic, all right, pretty much when it's paraphoristic, it goes into Salak. Let me get it. If something is paraphrased, it says a restatement of a text, passage, or work giving the meaning in another form. All right, what was that other form? The other form was Aramaic. They put that in Aramaic. All right, and we're going to actually get what was said. It says the use of the process of paraphrasing in studying or teaching composition. It says paraphrase. All right, so a paraphrase, it says when we paraphrase, we provide a version that can exist beside the original rather than replace it. Well, pretty much what they did was they took something. They took a translation, all right, and they put it, the Aramaic translation versus putting it in actually what was said, the actual quote. All right, so we're gonna get the actual quote. All right, so going back, I'll read it again. It says in Matthew only, IzabThaNaya, from the Chaldean shabak thou hast forsaken me. Matthew 27 and 46, Mark 15 and 34, which they give the wrong Psalms, but it's Psalms 22 and verse 1. For the Hebrew IzabThaNaya, which is so rendered also by the Chaldee paraphrase, all right, or paraphrased or paraphoristic, which a paraphrase is you pretty much, if you paraphrase a saying, you saying the same thing, but you putting it in a different way. All right, so let's see what that different way is, and then I'm gonna keep reading right here. It says, see, however you say that dude's name, Graham D, biblical Aramaic. All right, so continuing on, let's go to actually what was said. All right, because the Lord said, I'm gonna go back to it. This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. It says, think not that I am come to destroy the law of the prophets. I am come not to destroy, but to fulfill. All right, now I'm gonna go back to this because this is the one I wanted to get. This is Luke 24 and verse 44, Salak. All right, going back, it says, and he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moses. All right, we got Deuteronomy 18 and 18 to verse 19, and in the prophets, all right, all the books of the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me, because the Lord comes in the volume of the book. Let's actually get that. But I want to get this right here. It says in the Psalms. All right, what's in the Psalms concerning the Lord? All right, it's a lot of things in the Psalms concerning the Lord, but what we're talking about is Psalms 22 and 1. All right, well, let me actually get, it says in the prophets, or it said, yeah, I just go to where I was going, but continuing on, we can get Psalms 22 and verse 1. All right, because we know this Psalms at times is going into Hamashiach. All right, I'm gonna start down here, and then I'll go to the point. This is Psalms 22 and verse 17. Verse 16. It says, for dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. All right, that's what happened to the Lord when he was on the cross. It says, I may tell all my bones, they look and stare upon me. All right, and the bones is talking about the nation of Yasha'Allah. All right, but going to the point, verse 1, just proving that, that this is going into Mashiach. It says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring? All right. Now, this is the same thing that's written right here, Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46. It says, in about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Alaya, lama. This says, IzabThaNaya, or IzabThaNaya. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Which the verb that they used was shabak. All right. Which that still goes into a Hebrew word, but it's different from what's right here. All right. The prophecy that was fulfilled was Psalms 22 and verse 1, because we're going into Luke 24 and 44, where it said in the Psalms, which again is multiple Psalms that, the Lord has to fulfill, you see. But this is the particular prophecy that we're referring to right now. It says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring? All right, now let's actually go into this, because again, the word that they used was IzabThaNaya, which that's the it's also Hebrew, but more specifically, this is what was quoted. All right, Psalms 22 and verse 1. It reads, it says, Alaya. When we went to Matthew 27 and 46, it said, Eli. All right, and it said Lama, and the word right here is IzabThaNaya. All right, when say we're going into, I'm actually get it. When we're going into past and present tense, right? Or we're going into past tense. All right. So the verb that we're using is Izab, which means to forsake. I'm gonna actually go back to it so we can look at it. The verb we're using is, it says, hast thou forsaken me? All right, this goes into leave, loose, forsake, leave behind, depart from, abandon. All right, forsake. All right, if you were talking to someone, you would say, this pretty much would be the how you would say it, Atha, Izab, Ta. You forsook, or you forsaken. All right, because the rule is pretty much you put tha at the end. That's why the tha is right there when we go back to it. If I go back, you see in this one right here where it says H5800, it's IzabThaNaya. All right, the me part is the na and the ya, so it's IzabThaNaya, Alaya, lama, IzabThaNaya. All right, because that's how you would say it in Hebrew. All right, that was the fulfillment. Matthew 27 and 46 was the fulfillment of this particular prophecy, that the Lord fulfilled that particular prophecy. It wasn't talking about doing away with the law. Matthew 5 and 17, he came to fulfill the law. All right, but going back to Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46, this is a Greek translation of Shabak. All right, what Shabak wouldn't be. Shabak goes into to be forsaken, but more specifically, the verb that will be used is IzabThaNaya. Izab will be used, because again, it's right here. It says under the word IzabThaNaya, or IzabThaNaya, from the Chaldean Shabak, thou hast forsaken me. Matthew 27:46, Mark 15 and 34. For the Hebrew IzabThaNaya, which is so rendered also by the Chaldean paraphrase. And a paraphrase, all right, it's saying the same thing as a translation, but you giving it in another form. I can say, hey, a paraphrase isn't literal. All right, you saying the same thing, but it's not literal. You can say, all right,